Welcome, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Acts 2 workshop, dealing effectively with stressful dementia caregiving situations. What to know and do. I'm Dr. Rob Glukoff, servant leader of the Acts 2 project and professor at Florida State University College of Medicine. Just in case you're not familiar with the acronym or term ACTS 2, it's the African American Alzheimer's Caregiver Training and Support Project 2. I hope and pray this evening you'll find the workshop both highly informative and inspiring. Before I introduce this evening's presenters, I want to recognize our partners who have contributed both resources and guidance in the development of the Acts 2 Dementia Caregiver Facebook Workshop Series. Our primary collaborators are the 11th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the Florida State Primitive Baptist Convention, the Florida Progressive Missionary and Educational Baptist Convention, the Florida General Baptist Convention, the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, and FSU College of Medicine, the REACH program. Turning now to tonight's presenters, we have three thoughtful and exciting speakers, Mr. Ned Fayson, Mrs. Vicki Rose, and Mrs. Tamika Norton-Brown. I have the privilege of serving as moderator for this workshop. Please permit me now to share a few words about each of our presenters. Our first presenter is Mr. Ned Fayson Jr., raised in Orlando, attended subsequently after high school Florida A&M University, where he received his bachelor's degree in biology. While attending FAMU, he was a member of the famous Marching 100. After graduation in 1977, Ned taught basic science and ecology classes at Vashti Educational Center in Thomasville, Georgia. 3 years later, Ned moved to Jacksonville to accept a position as safety and health specialist with the Florida Department of Labor. This position provided numerous opportunities for Ned to share his expertise with business leaders across the state of Florida. In 2016, he traded, as Ned indicated, his safety and health shoes and helmet to become a caregiver for his dear 84-year-old mother with dementia. Ned's favorite scripture, he wanted us to note this, is 1 Thessalonians 5:18. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Our second presenter, Mrs. Vicki Rose, is a social worker highly esteemed for her leadership in advocating for persons with dementia and their care partners. She graduated from Florida State University's College of Social Work, and she also obtained a certificate in gerontology. Vicki is currently outreach coordinator for Capital Home Healthcare Corporation that provides rehabilitation services for adults in the Big Bend area. Prior to joining Capital Home Health, Mrs. Rose was coordinator for one of the 17 memory disorder clinics located at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Mrs. Rose also serves as task force member on the Dementia Care and Cure Initiative for the Big Bend. In the limited free time she has, Mrs. Rose loves spending quality time with her husband, her cat, her snake, her chinchilla, and 2 dogs. Last, Tamika Brown is project coordinator of the Acts 2 project and my dear sister in the Lord. She has worked in the area of survey development and evaluation for the past 21 years. She has served as caregiver for her aunt and uncle with dementia and has a sincere and deep passion for helping others Tamika has been a wellspring of encouragement and support for hundreds of family caregivers of older adults with dementia across the state of Florida. Note that, folks, that during the course of the workshop, we encourage you to share your questions using your text message function of Facebook Live. Those questions will be addressed after each presentation, so please feel free to share your questions and thoughts for sharing after each of the presentations. And now we have Mr. Ned Fayson.
Good evening, everyone. My transition from full-time retiree to a parental caregiver began in 2016 after my mother got lost during a return trip from the Florida Mall, approximately 7 miles away from home. As she recalled, I drove almost 20 miles in the wrong direction. Finally, I pulled over into the parking lot of a convenience store and asked a gentleman for directions to a local theme attraction on Highway 1792 that she was familiar with to start her journey home. I was too embarrassed to admit I had lost my way home. My sisters and I were clueless as to what could have caused Mom to get lost, and we were unaware of the journey we would embark upon in months to follow. Our mother had driven this route many, many times to the mall with no problems prior to this incident. It's a fact, road construction and traffic detours are the norm throughout Orlando's streets and highways. Have you ever driven I-4? You know what I'm talking about. It's a frustrating maze of mergers and detours. Even the most attentive and experienced driver can occasionally get lost due to a wrong turn or detour. Months passed, and we began to notice various changes in her personality, communication with us, and short-term memories, such as repeatedly asking the same questions over and over within minutes of getting a reply. When asked, "Mom, why are you asking the same questions again?" her reply was, "I don't remember asking you any questions." With that response, we needed to inform her primary care physician. We needed to inform her primary care physician and to request an evaluation and recommendations from a professional perspective. During the next doctor's visit, we explained the noticeable changes gradually occurring: confusion about the day of the week, a decrease in short-term memory, problems remembering new or recent events, misplacing valuables, difficulty recalling the names of family members and friends, behavioral symptoms such as delusions and suspiciousness, difficulty recalling phone numbers. Within her own admission, she was beginning to forget things more frequently. A brief in-house doctor's visit in which a few questions were asked, such as, "What is the day of the week? What month and year is it? How many children do you have? What is your birth date?" She successfully answered 2 of 4 questions. The doctor made a referral to a local neurologist who later diagnosed our mother with mild dementia. My initial challenge to face was accepting the diagnosis, dementia. To my knowledge, no one in our immediate family had ever been diagnosed with dementia. How could this be? My mother was a self-reliant, witty, independent homemaker and mother. Dementia, how could this be? Our mother had a successful career for 32 years with Lockheed Martin, an American aerospace defense technologies company. She received several commendations for her electronic proficiency and innovative designs for missiles and spacecrafts flown into space. Dementia, how could this be? Several unanswered questions immediately surfaced. What can be done to reverse or cure dementia? How will this disorder affect the quality of life for my loved one? Is this disorder hereditary? How do we assure mother's safety and security in the weeks and months ahead? For each of us, it was initially a day-by-day challenge to understand what to do as a caregiver, how to respond to her mental confusion, memory loss, and occasional negative behavior. My only resource at that time was prayer and meditation for direction and strength. Psalms chapter 41 and verse 1 reads, God is my refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 through 6 reads, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. For the next 3 years, our trust in God was the blueprint to follow. Another challenge I faced was to ensure mother's safety and security at home. Her primary care physician recommended we conduct a home safety evaluation that includes identifying and eliminating potential trip hazards, slips, and fall hazards throughout the home, removing throw rugs and floor pillows that could potentially be hazardous when walking with her cane or walker. To avoid a house fire, microwave and home-cooked meals are provided daily, eliminating the use of the home stove. Thankfully, there hasn't been any issue with her leaving home unattended or wandering away from the property. When home alone, wellness checks are made frequently throughout the day. Family members are available as needed to assist with home care. A third challenge I faced was maintaining future support and assistance from 2 family members in particular who provided assistance. My mother accused them of stealing her valuables and money. Fortunately, they did not take the accusations personally. Although this is hard to do, try to remember that difficult behaviors are usually linked to the disease state. Fast forward to January 2020. I received a call from a friend living in St. Petersburg who informed me of a recent health and wellness workshop held at his church. One of the organizations participating was Acts 2. He eagerly stated, Ned, you should contact the presenter for additional information. I think you'll benefit greatly. I have her business card and I will forward the information to you after this call. As soon as I received the number, I called immediately and spoke with Acts 2 project coordinator, Tamika Brown. I briefly explained how I got her number and the circumstances I was facing with my mother. Fortunately, her team would be traveling to Orlando the next weekend to give a presentation during an AME regional conference held at St. Mark's AME Church, only 4 miles away from our home. Hallelujah! What a miracle to be in the right place at the right time. Perhaps this is the step in the right direction. Thank you, Lord. The following weekend, I met Tamika and Dr. Rob. What excitement they exhibited during their Acts 2 project what excitement they exhibited regarding the Acts 2 project during our initial meeting. After a few weeks, now February, I received a call from Tamika regarding my interest in group participation with other caregivers. Then I received a packet of materials containing the Acts 2 Caregiver Guidebook and Resource Book, The 36-Hour Day, delivered to my front door. A few days later, another call from the group facilitator, Brenda Franks, welcoming me into the group. The Acts 2 program has been educational as well as life-changing to me. From weeks 1 through 12, I have gained new skills and techniques through group sessions and the skill building guide to become a better caregiver. Some of the new skills and techniques I've learned include relaxation techniques, effective thinking, assertive communication, and setting personal caregiving goals that are clear, specific, observable, and measurable to help my life as a caregiver. My experience has been a blessing to me and my mother. I highly recommend to caregivers and potential caregivers to get involved and join the Acts 2 project and family. I give the Acts 2 project experience 2 thumbs up. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fayson. That was an inspiring and very informative presentation. I was particularly moved with how you have maintained your faith walk, your strength, your persistence in your caregiving activities during a number of trials and tribulations. Can you tell us what you thought were some of those elements of the training that you had, and just in your personal life, what helped you to find your way and negotiate your way through those difficult times in caregiving?
As I previously stated, some of the techniques and skills that were greatly beneficial was relaxation techniques. As a caregiver, we're not Superman, you're not Wonder Woman, and you get tired, your body gets tired, your mind gets tired, and there has to be a time when you can just step back and relax and regroup so that you can take on the duties to be effective as a caregiver. And for me, my tension was stored in my lower back, shoulders, and neck. So when I was feeling those moments of extreme tension, I would sit quietly in a place and do neck rotations, shoulder crunches, forward and backwards. And I did sets of 10, at 3 sets of 10 with 1 minute intervals, again, to help me relax. And after those periods of the exercises, I felt a little more refreshed and ready to get back to the job.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Fayson. Yeah, it's amazing how small changes in relaxation and meditation have such a strong effect on well-being, and your testimony really speaks to that issue of just of entering into times for self-care to lighten up the demands and stresses of caregiving.
Absolutely.
Just want to thank all those folks who are signing in and speaking to the group through chat. Miss Priscilla Jean-Louis, I believe that's how it's pronounced, or Jean Lewis. She's a solo caregiver of 2 persons with dementia, and we appreciate you being with us, Miss Jean-Louis, and it's a great blessing to have you this evening. Any other comments and questions at this point before we move on to Mrs. Vicki Rose? Thank you, Josie, for your positive affirmation of Mr. Ned Fayson Jr. What a moving narrative and story. Thank you, Ned.
You're welcome.
And now we have Mrs. Vicki Rose, someone that I feel you will find very moving and fun, despite the topic we have, the content of dealing with stressful caregiving situations. Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Glukoff and the Acts 2 team for having me. And thank you, Mr. Fayson, for sharing. One of the things that I've found with my work with caregivers is how much strength they find in each other and knowing that they're not alone. And it's not just professionals saying, you're not alone, I'm here. When a caregiver is telling another caregiver, I'm taking care of two folks with dementia, it's hard and it's okay. And we're here to learn something. So, thank you all so much. I'm going to try to squish as much as possible. I think I have about 30 minutes. But if I know family caregivers in the room with us right now are saying, yeah, 30 minutes for all of the challenging behaviors that happen with someone living with dementia is not enough. We could probably talk for an entire day, and maybe that's a recommendation for a later seminar. So I'm going to try to squish as much as possible. We will take some questions at the end. And I want this to be the start of the discussion. So, after this is over, let's make sure to continue this discussion. You can continue it with me, continue it with other caregivers, your church family, Acts 2, the Memory Disorder Clinic, however you decide to gain more knowledge. And I know as caregivers, the more tools we have in our toolboxes, the more things that we know, the easier it's going to be to manage some of these challenging caregiving situations. And that's going to be really, really valuable. So this is just the start of the conversation, and I would be more than happy, and I know Acts 2 would be more than happy to continue it with you. So we'll go to the next slide, please. So first things first, on the slide, there is a brain. There's a lot of little type in the brain. I don't really want you to really zoom in and be looking and seeing what parts of the brain. What I want you to get from this slide, and I always love to start with these, talking about the physical effects of dementia. I think it just adds the perfect lens for our conversation tonight. So what I want you to get from this slide is that your brain does everything. So different parts of your brain do different things. So depending on what type of dementia you have, whether that be Alzheimer's disease, whether that be frontotemporal or Lewy body, different parts of your brain are going to be affected, and that can have an effect on the person's behavior. Because if we can go to the next slide, please. As you can see, the brain on the left side, I hope that we are seeing the same thing, but the brain on the left side is going to be what we call a typical or normal brain. So someone without damage to their brain caused by a certain type of dementia. On the right side, we're looking at a person with Alzheimer's disease, and you can see the actual physical change in the person's brain. They say that after a person has passed away, if you were to take out an Alzheimer's brain and put it on a scale compared to a typical aging brain, it would actually weigh less. And what that is actual brain tissue that is no longer there. So you might be looking at your mom or the person that you're taking care of and going, gosh, like, my mom is just doing this to spite me. She's right there. What is going on? Why is she doing this to me? It's because of what's going on in her brain. And if we think about the previous slide, your brain does what? But everything. It is the control tower for your entire body. So when you have that much cell death in your brain, of course, you're going to have changes in behavior. And of course, it might be difficult sometimes. And we'll go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So first things first is we want to think about whatever the behavior is. We want to think about why is the person doing this behavior. So we always want to remember that there are actual physical changes that are happening in the person's brain. So we'll think about the slide before. Keep that in the back of our head when we're getting frustrated and angry, that it is the damage in the brain that is doing it. It's not, the person has changed because their brain has changed, and your brain does what? Everything. So when we think about the why, I saw Dr. Cameron Camp at the Alzheimer's Project has a fabulous conference every February. And I saw Dr. Cameron Camp do a talk about the Montessori method of activities and things that you can do for someone living with dementia. He is a psychologist that specializes in applied gerontology, and he's pioneered this Montessori method that I think everyone should go and Google after this. But what he talks about is the why the person is doing something should never be finished but with the answer, well, they have dementia. That's it, mystery solved. That's not the why that we really need. We need to be thinking about what's going on with that person's physical body. What's going on in the environment? Is it too stressful? Is it too loud? Is it too cold? What is happening with that person? The answer to that question, why is this person doing it, is not because, well, they just have dementia and there's nothing that we can do about it. We'll go to the next slide, please. We always want to try to dive a little deeper. So when we're thinking about finding the why and the solutions, I kind of want to break it down, and the Alzheimer's Association breaks it down into 3 parts. So first, we want to examine the behavior. What was the behavior? Is it harmful? Sometimes behaviors that people are doing are not necessarily harmful or dangerous, but to be frank, just a little annoying. Or, I used to be the director of an adult day center, and I used to have a little lady, and she would take a tissue and she would rip it up into a million pieces and get it everywhere, all over the floor. So and I says, it's just, why is she getting all this paper everywhere? Oh my gosh. Well, I think, okay, I'm going to examine the behavior. Her ripping this up and getting it everywhere is not hurting her. It's not hurting me. Maybe we can let that go, or better yet, maybe we can find something else for her to do with her hands, which brings me to the next step, exploring potential solutions. What can we do so that the person is not ripping up this paper and getting it everywhere and creating a huge mess, if that's something that you really are not wanting the person to do? Can we find something else for them to do with their hands? Maybe it's getting a pen and clicking the pen. Or maybe it's getting one of those fiddle aprons and having the person do something, or even a jacket with buttons and zippers on it, and they can just use the zippers. What can we get the person, find some potential solutions so that they're doing something else with their hands besides ripping up this paper? And then if that doesn't work, try a different response. So every person you meet with dementia is one person that you meet with dementia. We'll talk about some things tonight, and some things you might go, oh, that'll work. Or some things you go, that will never work with the person that I take care of. That will never work in a million years. That's fine. I've worked with clients who I have tried an intervention and tried a potential solution with them. And instead of clicking the pen, I thought that was a great idea. They'll be doing something with their hand, clicking the pen. Instead of clicking the pen, they start drawing on their skin or drawing on the wall, which was not what the plan was. So you always have to be ready to have that flexibility and be able to go, okay, that didn't work. Let's try again. You're not a failure as a caregiver. You're not, doing something terrible. I remember I took care of my dad. He had a brain tumor, which had some signs of dementia. And I thought it was a great idea to give him mangoes. He loved mangoes. So I gave him all these mangoes, and I thought that was great. And he would get it all over, the stickiness and everything. Well, turns out that the mangoes and the stickiness, he was had a sensitivity to it, and he got on his hands. And then we were also in the bathroom for a very long time. I did not fail as a caregiver when that happened. I just learned not to give my dad so much mango and not have him get the juice and everything all over his hands. So try a different response. Some things will work, some things will not. You're not a failure. Just keep on going. We'll go to the next slide, please. So what we're going to talk about next is strategies for handling care refusal behaviors. I got these 10 strategies from Rita Jablonski, Dr. Rita Jablonski. She's out of the University of Alabama in Birmingham. I saw her at a conference in Dothan, Alabama. And she has the most fabulous blog with information on non-drug interventions for handling dementia behaviors. She also has a host of videos online on YouTube, so you can actually watch her in practice doing these things, and it's pretty neat. So just want to give her a little bit of credit. Also, too, when we're talking about refusal behaviors, people will refuse care. I want everyone to think about, too, the last time that someone asked you to do something and maybe you said no. People refuse care all the time, including people with dementia. Sometimes people do not want to do stuff, and that's okay. You know, once again, you're not a failure as a caregiver. The person is not terribly difficult. They just don't want to do it, and that's okay. So we'll go to the next slide, please. So first things first, we always want to enter their reality. I think at some point Rita mentions that you have to go into dementia land, is what she called it. She said that there's roller coasters and all kinds of stuff, but it's dementia land, and you have to go there in order to better understand and interact with the person living with dementia. So because of that damage in the brain that we talked about in the very beginning of the slides, that person living with dementia isn't able to come to our reality anymore. So as a caregiver, we have a really difficult job of straddling both worlds. We have dementia land, and we have our own real world where we are. And it's hard as a caregiver to straddle those realities. But when we're talking about refusal behaviors, we want to think about past life experiences and how can you fit that into the narrative to help take care of someone. So we think about their usual schedule, career, trauma, family life. All of these things can play a role in the person's care. So when I think about this, one of the most common refusal behaviors that we hear about is bathing. The person doesn't want to take a bath. And when that happens, it can be really frustrating because one of the caregiver's main goals is to keep the person clean, dry, and safe. So in that clean and dry part can be really important, especially if the person is incontinent. So it's important for the person to take a bath. So if we think back to our steps, is this something that's important? Yes, the bathing is important. So the person needs to take a bath. So we want to think about, first of all, what would it be like if we switched it around? What would it be like if your son or daughter had to give you a bath? So maybe the person saying no, that they don't want to take a bath because they're nervous about having their son or daughter see them indisposed. So, just because you have dementia doesn't mean that you can't feel embarrassed or ashamed or that you can feel nervous about something or anxious. Just because you have dementia doesn't mean that you are no longer the person's dad or mom. So that could be a reason. So think about the usual schedule. So did the person, they always took their baths in the morning. They were a morning person. They woke up at 4 a.m, they got in the shower and then went on with the rest of their day. Then as a caregiver, we have to switch it up a little bit. I don't have time in the morning to get mom into the shower. I have to get my kids off to school, and we'll have to just do the bathing at the end of the day. Well, with that that's a break in the schedule. So that could be a reason possibly that person is saying no, that they don't want to take a bath. Maybe it's the environment. So is it too hot, too cold in the bathroom? Is the seat where you make them sit uncomfortable? Do you have a shower head that comes down? Can the person do a little bit by themselves? So all of these things are something that you have to keep in mind. I know that I've worked with survivors of sexual assault who have been, also living with dementia. And they were very particular that they didn't want to have any men in the bathroom with them to help them. Even if there were care assistants that we had hired, we'd have to make sure that we were very sensitive to not have them alone with a man just because of their past experiences. So we want to enter their reality. Next slide, please. Distraction. This is one of my favorites. So anything that you can do to distract the person and take the person's mind off what you're doing to something that they enjoy. So whether that be singing, talking about something they love, a favorite memory. I think one of the benefits of being a family caregiver, there's many benefits, but one of them is that you know that person better than anybody else. So you know their stories, you know their history. If you've taken care of someone with dementia for any period of time, you know that that person probably has a story. I call it a story on loop. Like they say kind of the same stories all over again, and it's usually something that they're very proud of in their life. So maybe they were a teacher. I used to have a client who was a teacher, and she would get very upset and want to leave during the day, and I would bring out that story that she always used to say on loop. I say, hey, you know, Miss Daisy, weren't you a teacher? And she go, oh yeah, I was a teacher. I said, wasn't there that story about that kid who was making the fart noises in the back of your classroom and you had to, reprimand him? Oh yeah, that was Johnny. He was such a bad kid, but by the end of the year, and I got her off of wanting to leave and get out the door and be upset with us. And I distracted her back with that story that I knew that she loved, and brought her back to me. And while we were talking about that story, I was kind of walking down the hallway and she was walking with me telling the story, and we were moving away from the front door, moving into our back where I wanted her to go and use the restroom. So we casually had that conversation. I distracted her, and we were able to get down to the bathroom. So family caregivers, I know you know that story. So think about that story right now and use it. That is one of your tools. Get that story in your head and use it, use it, use it. Even if you have to use it multiple times a day, use that story. I also have had so many clients who will get very combative in the bathroom, especially if they're not able to clean themselves appropriately, which happens. They they have people around them, you're near their rear end, they want to get you away from them. So we would sing. I had a little lady, I took care of, Miss Johnny, and I would always sing to her. She was non-communicative. She no longer could speak. And she loved that, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And we would sing that every time we went to the bathroom. And although she couldn't talk anymore, she couldn't say anything, she couldn't communicate, she could sing that song. So I use that. You put that tool as a caregiver. She loves that song. I'm going to let it shine. I'm going to put it in my back pocket and I'm going to use it. Even if you can't sing, I'm not the best singer, have a playlist so that you can use that distraction whenever you have the opportunity or you need to do that. So we're going to move on to the next one, please. So we talk about bridging, especially with personal care. So once again, we have the person need to take out the dentures, need to brush teeth, whatever it may be. I forgot my toothbrush, and I usually have a much better demonstration. And I usually have a student intern who I make my demonstrator, but COVID. So we're going to do some bridging. And what that means is that if this is a toothbrush and we want the person to brush their teeth, instead of going, okay, mom, come here, I'm going to go ahead and get you brushed up here, give her the toothbrush. Let her have that in her hand. Even if she isn't able to brush her teeth anymore or follow directions, maybe she can hold the toothbrush in her hand and you can gently say, open up. And because she sees that toothbrush in her hand, that's gonna click somewhere in there, hopefully, and you could be able to brush the teeth. Meanwhile, her hands are busy. She's got the toothbrush in her hands, and she knows, okay, toothbrush, this looks semi-familiar, and there's a toothbrush in my mouth. Got it. So, also priming is what they talk about as well. You get the person started with their own toothbrush, and then eventually they can go ahead and finish their routine. Sometimes the brain just needs a little bit of assistance to make those neural connections. We'll go to the next slide, please. So hand over hand. So I really think about hand over hand when we are doing personal care tasks like bathing, especially when we're talking about bathing the person's, private areas and, it once again, you have to put yourself in the person's shoes. If your son or daughter was having to clean your privates, it might be a little embarrassing. So if you can allow that person as much control as possible, that's going to be a huge hit. Sometimes it's going to take a little longer. Sometimes the person may not do the best job and you might have to clean up after them, but anything you can do to have the person, first of all, practice. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that is a saying, not just for all of us, but for people with dementia too. Once you start taking over these tasks, the person is no longer going to be able to do it. So hand over hand is when you will get their hand, put a sponge or something in it, and then take your hand and you can allow them to clean themselves. But your hand is still guiding them and allowing them. So they're involved. Meanwhile, their hands are busy. So when you're in the shower or doing whatever personal care task, they're not trying to grab you. I know folks with dementia, they always love to touch my face. Even in the bathroom when I was helping them, they would always want to touch my face. And anything you can do to keep the person's hands busy, keep them from touching your face, unless that's a sweet thing, and go for it. Just make sure to wash your hands afterwards. Some other tips for the shower, we talk about getting the little tiny shampoo bottles from like hotels. You can fill them up with your own shampoo and allowing that person to take that shampoo bottle and try to do their own. I know that I've had patients where I have the Costco size bottle of shampoo, and with the pump, they're over there pumping. And then we've got so much shampoo. It's everywhere. It's a slip risk. We're having problems. But if you give that person that little bottle of shampoo, they're not going to be able to do that much damage with it, hopefully. Same thing with toilet paper. I've had clients that go in the bathroom and pull the toilet paper down. So solution to that, not that, okay, well, that person can't go be alone anymore in the bathroom and they're not going to be able to clean themselves up anymore. No, give them an appropriate amount of toilet paper, whatever that may be, and allow them that opportunity to use that little bit of toilet paper, take the big roll out, and allow them that independence to continue doing it themselves. So hand over hand is nice because it's still engaging the person and giving them that feeling that they're still independent. You're just there as an assist. We'll go to the next slide, please. Mirror, mirror. So this can either go really good or really bad. So I've had clients that kind of fall on both ends of this spectrum. So a lot of times, especially when the person maybe has mobility challenges, they're not able to get out of bed as easy, our first instinct is to have the person do personal care tasks in the bed. Well, okay, when was the last time any of us brushed our teeth sitting on the edge of a bed? It's not me. Usually every morning when I wake up, I go into my bathroom and I stand in front of my mirror. And that's where I do my personal care tasks. So I do my brush, my teeth, my hair. So this could be a good prompt for someone when you're wanting them to do personal care tasks, is getting them in front of that mirror. Whatever you can do to continue that person's routine. So getting them in front of the mirror, having them do their personal care, even if you can also stand in that mirror and brush your teeth, show the person what they're supposed to be doing, that is going to be huge. Now, this can totally backfire. I've had clients who have, walked by the mirror and they're blowing themselves kisses. They love the mirror. They love seeing themselves. And I've had clients who have come in and go, who is that woman? Who is that woman? I'm supposed to be in this bathroom by myself. I don't want this woman in here with me. And the woman they're looking at is them in the mirror. So what do? It's not that we don't take that person in the bathroom anymore, or that we say, don't worry about it. That's just you, silly goose. You're in the mirror. Cover the mirror. Or distract them. Start singing that little song, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, and have the person looking at you when you're walking past the mirror. We have to change our behavior in order to have a better result. That person living with dementia, it's really hard for them to adjust and adapt. But we, with our juicy brains that I showed you in that first slide, we can do that. It just takes a little bit of practice. Next slide, please. Caregiver vibes. Mr. Fayson talked about this too. Taking time for prayer, for meditation, whatever you do for self-care, you're going to need it. You have to, in order to take care of somebody else, you have to take care of yourself. Take your oxygen first, the 36-hour day. All these are great, we know, and caregivers know, of course, I have to take care of myself. But a lot of caregivers struggle with finding out how. Well, with refusal behaviors, caregiver vibes, what's happening, what you're giving to the person, they're going to give it right back to you. So any situation that you want the person to say yes and to actually do what you want them to do, you need to come into it with a good attitude, not rushing the person, that can cause anxiety, not having anxiety yourself. Oh, we got to get going. I got to get the kids to school. I got to get you to day stay. We have to do this stuff and we got to go quick. Come on. That person is automatically go, no, lady. What are you talking about? I'm not rushing. I'm not in a rush. I don't have anywhere to be. And then it just escalates from there. So take a deep breath. If you can safely leave a situation where you feel yourself going, ooh, if you can safely leave that situation, say your mantra, whatever you have to do to be able to de-stress and go back into that situation with a smile and that you're ready to go. So their mood will reflect your mood. I don't know how many people with dementia I've come up to and just said, hey, my name's Vicki. And 9 times out of 10, when you smile at someone, they're going to smile back at you. They're going to reflect that. People without dementia do it. People with dementia do it. It's just one of those things. Now, this can totally backfire. I've had clients who I said, hey, how are you doing today? Why are you so happy? Oh, well, let me try this again. I'm just happy to see you. Oh, well, I'm not happy to. It happens. Then later that day, tomorrow, I go up to the same client and said, hey, how are you doing today? And said, oh, I'm doing good. We don't know. Maybe something had happened to the person. Maybe they watched something on television that they didn't like. Whatever it may be, those things happen. It's not going to work all the time, but you can't and it's hard to do. And once again, it takes practice. You can't let that person bring those caregiver vibes down. So, I think about driving in this especially. So when you're having that first initial conversation with someone about driving, you can't drive because you're going to kill somebody. You can't get on the road anymore. We have to take your keys away. Dr. So-and-so said that you can't drive. So if we kind of flip that on the head, use the caregiver vibes, we want to maybe find a way to limit that person's driving. So maybe your husband goes, well, I'm gonna go out I'm gonna just drive up to the store real quick. Say, oh, I actually needed something from the store. Do you mind if I join you? And that way you can get in the car and you can drive. I'll drive. I know you said you were tired today. You limit the opportunity for that person to drive, and you do it with a good attitude as well. The person, of course, as soon as you say you can't drive because you're going to kill somebody, they're going to come back at you and say, no, I do not. I am an excellent driver. I've been driving, I know my dad, I've been driving longer than you've been alive, is what he always used to say. I said, okay. So it's hard. Repetitive questions, you have to answer it again with a smile. If you need to write that person a little note, sometimes I know in the Montessori method, they talk about writing that person a little note. And then, people obsess about all kinds of things, doctor's appointments. When was that doctor's appointment you told me about? Oh, Mom, it's at 12:30 tomorrow. Okay. 5 minutes later. When was that doctor's appointment that we were going? Well, it's 12:30 tomorrow. Right. It's 12:30 tomorrow on a piece of paper. Give it to the person. Then the person comes, what time was that doctor's appointment? And you go, what, why didn't you go ahead and look at that piece of paper I gave you? Oh, 12:30 tomorrow. They come in again. Look at that paper. Hopefully by 3 or 4 times, they're just looking at the paper. And they're not having to ask you the same question over and over and over again. So, there's little things like that you can try. Once again, it might not work. Maybe having a central calendar on your refrigerator. So every time the person has a question about an appointment, they're kind of train their brain to just go ahead and walk to the fridge and look. We'll do the next slide, please. Okay. Asking for help. This is one of my favorite tools, if you will, for someone with dementia. Just in general, if someone wants to walk up to you and say, can you help me with something? 9 out of 10 times, you'll probably say, yeah, what's going on? How can I help? Especially if it was a member of your own family. Well, most of the time, if the person asks, can you help me? They're probably going to say yes. And that is the same with someone with dementia. So if I want the person to come and come and eat lunch. So instead of saying, okay, it's lunchtime, let's go, you say, can you help me with something? Sometimes I would keep it really vague. Can you help me with something in the dining room? Leaving it simple and kind of vague sometimes will leave less opportunity for that person to be like, no, I don't want to do that. So if you said, can you come to the dining room so we can eat lunch? They say, no, I'm not hungry. I already ate. And so when you say, can you help me with something in the dining room? And then you say, I just need your help putting out these plates. So they put out the plates, go, gosh, that food looks good. But, do you mind if we eat? And the person goes, oh, yeah, no, that sounds great. You sit down and you eat your meal. So anything that you can do to put the person back in control, they're helping you with something. Everyone loves that feeling of being helpful, of having a purpose. And that does not go away when you have dementia. When you have dementia, you still have that feeling of wanting to help, wanting to have purpose. I know people who have family caregivers taking care of people with dementia know that the person at times will ask you, like, am I doing this right? Like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? And that's because they enjoy that sense, that feeling, that sense of purpose. All right, we'll go to the next slide, please. When all else fails, people will get mad at you. It's just, that's just part of the terrible part about this disease is people do get upset because they're scared, they're anxious, they're angry, they're confused. All of these things would also make me kind of angry too at times. So, if something happens, if the person is very angry with you about, taking the items, I know that Mr. Fayson had talked about the paranoid behaviors, that something had been stolen from his mother. I know the purses were always big. Well, where's my purse? Get duplicates of that item. If they can't find the purse, you took my purse. Why did you take that from me? Say, oh, Mom, I brought it into my room so that I wanted to just shine it up for you. I wanted to get some of the, the stuff off. Well, never do that again. I was looking for my purse. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mom. It won't happen again. Thank you for being so patient with me. Anything that you can do to de-escalate the situation is going to be a huge help. Caregivers, and I know you all already know this, but never argue with someone with dementia. You will lose 100% of the time. And that's just the thing. If you're going to argue with that person, you guys are not in the same, remember, our different realities. Their reality is different from ours. You all are not arguing in the same world. So, anything you can do to just de-escalate the situation and say you're sorry is fine. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, please. I know I'm running I get so excited about this topic. Offer rewards. So offer rewards when finished with a task. Doesn't have to be food related. It can be grandkids fun, activities, pets, walks. I think about drinking water. If you we're all supposed to drink this much water. People with dementia are supposed to drink water because it prevents UTIs and has all these other wonderful effects, maybe the medications they're on. But can be really intimidating for a person with dementia. Drinking this whole thing, it's heavy, you have to put it down, you have to pick it up. So maybe giving that person just a little cup of water, a little tiny cup of water. And when that person, just a swig, they take it. Oh, Mom, you finished all of that water? Oh, well, it wasn't that much. Oh, well, let's try again. Give her a little bit more. Mom, you finished all of that water again? That is great. So even the reward in getting them to try to do something, the reward doesn't have to be food. The reward could be praise. Telling the person that they did a good job. Everybody likes to be told that they did a good job. So offering a reward, hey, let's go to the bathroom and then we can go out and go see our favorite grandbaby. We'll go to the next slide, please. Then finally, rescue. So this is, of course, harder for family caregivers. A lot of times family caregivers may be the only person taking care of the loved one, or maybe they're taking care of a loved one during the day and their spouse or whoever else is in the home is at school or at work. So this can always be hard. But if you're in a situation where you are just back and forth with the person, and the refusal continues to escalate and the task is essential. I think about maybe the person is incontinent and they have a dirty, adult depend on. So that is essential, that you need to get that off. So when it becomes into this back and forth, sometimes, and I know especially in the daycare, if we got into someone got into a back and forth with a client, which happens, I would come in and go, what are you doing here, Donna? Donna, why don't you go ahead and get out of here? And I would yell at Donna for giving the client a hard time. Then the client would look at me and go, oh, thank goodness you're here. She was just, bothering me about all kinds of things. I said, well, don't worry. I said, weren't you a teacher at some point? Use that story, pull up that story, and then you can go ahead and kind of almost start fresh with the depend. Well, let's just get to the bathroom and we'll take care of this real quick, and then I want you to tell me more about that kid that made those fart noises in the back of the class the whole time. All right, next slide. The most important slide. Call me. Ask to, my caregiving journey is challenging, but I do not journey alone, and my best is enough. Your best is enough. Caregiving is one of the hardest journeys that you will go on. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, but you are not alone. You have Acts 2, you have me, your memory disorder clinic, your friends, your church family, whoever is your support. Surround yourself with those people and ask for help. It's okay. It's okay. So I hope you got a little bit out of this presentation. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them. I apologize for running over my time. Back to you, Dr. G.
Well, Vicki, I honestly think you shouldn't apologize. That was so powerful, so informative. I just want the audience to know that this video will be available shortly after the presentation. So if you want to go back and listen to Mr. Fayson Jr. or to Vicki or to Tamika coming up, as well as our question and answer period, it will be there for you. And there was just so much important information that you shared, Vicki, in your presentation. I just wanted to let folks know about that. And let's start with questions, for a few questions for Vicki.
Okay.
Mrs. Baker asked, my mother has dementia and I recently got her a dog. Good idea or not?
So this is, it just depends. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the dog. A lot of times, first things first is what we always want to think about with animals is safety. So, especially if the person is using a walker or any kind of device, or is the person safely able to use that device around a dog? I know I have two 60-pound dogs, and if I rolled a walker through my house, they would probably knock me right over. So making sure, in who's going to take care of the dog, especially if you think about planning for the future, do you all have plans, family in place that's going to be able to pick up some of these care tasks with the dog? Those are all things to really think about, but dogs and animals can bring such comfort to people living with dementia. And, I highly recommend, having some sort of animal. I know that Florida Department of Elder Affairs right now has robotic animals because they are just really so effective for people living with dementia. So, the dog, I think, is great as long as you all are prepared to work as a team. Sometimes caregivers, that would just be one extra thing added onto their plates, which isn't always the best. But if you have a situation where it works, then it works. So
thank you, Vicki.
sure.
Moving on to Colleen Pritchard's question. We are having challenges, Miss Rose, getting my mom to take a shower. Suggestions?
So, especially with the shower, first of all, we want to talk about frequency. So, some people, even people living with dementia, sometimes it might always be a struggle for them to get them to take a shower. And especially if there's a situation where you all are really having to fight over it, you might want to reduce the frequency of the showers to reduce the number of times that you have to have this conversation and this fight with the person. But hopefully you'd be able to find out the why. Why is the person having this problem with the shower? So is the shower too cold? Do you have one of those shower benches and they get completely naked and then they're just sitting on the bench? So we talk about, I've worked with CNAs in the past who have even had the person wear clothes while they're in the shower, and you just go on, the clothes get soaking wet, you get soaking wet, everyone's wet, the floor is wet, but the person is still covered and they're able to kind of go and do what you need to do. Even with a towel, if you can have the person wear a towel, maybe the towel gets wet and they can stick out a leg or an arm and do it that way. Having a really lovely smelling soap could be, really nice. Playing some music. I wouldn't play really loud music or really upbeat music. If you want to have a calm atmosphere in the bathroom, maybe play their favorite low-key songs to be in the shower. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can do. The Alzheimer's Association has a whole page on this. Try different things, and if something doesn't work, try something else or try it again later. It's all these answers are going to be kind of, it depends. Everybody is so different. So, but good luck. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Jackie Alexander, for your positive affirmation. I'm glad the information was helpful. Thank you, Miss Harris, for your positive affirmations. And now, folks, I know that we're moving on to we have more questions. Just to recognize, however, that we're going to have a panel after our next speaker, Mrs. Tamika Norton-Brown, and you can, if you wish, ask some more questions of Mrs. Vicki Rose and Mr. Ned Fayson Jr. When we get to the panel. And now we have Mrs. Tamika Norton-Brown, Acts 2 Project Coordinator.
Good evening, everyone. What I am going to do is to give information on our Acts 2 program. Vicki said something very important earlier. She said that when you're dealing with difficult behaviors or any type of situation, one of the first things you may have to do is to change your behavior. And sometimes changing that behavior may just mean reaching out to resources that are available. So Acts 2 is a resource, and I'm going to give you information on what we provide. Next slide, please. Acts 2 is a faith-based skills training and support program for African American caregivers of Alzheimer's or dementia. What I will say is that although the 12-session program is for African American caregivers, Anyone who calls me, we will refer to other resources, and we will help kind of guide you in your caregiving journey. Our program includes 7 group skills building with 3 persons in a group. Vicki mentioned earlier that it's important to get that sense of community from other caregivers who are going through similar things. So our groups are structured that there are 3 persons in a group, and you receive 5 individual sessions. There's absolutely no cost to participate in our program. All of our sessions are delivered weekly over toll-free telephone by trained lay pastoral care facilitators. And what the lay pastoral care facilitators are basically persons from the faith community who have either been nominated by their judicatory leaders, or they've seen a presentation like this and said, hey, this is interesting. I think I might want to be a group leader. And we actually train them to deliver the sessions. In the individual sessions with the facilitators, it will focus on goal setting and problem solving to address any identified concerns by the caregivers. So caregivers will come in with things that were mentioned before, like how do I get mom to bathe, or how do I get mom and dad to take their medication. So the caregivers actually receive individual sessions where they get to work one-on-one on those goals, whether they be personal goals or caregiving related goals. Next slide, please. The contents of the skills building module, we have 6 major components. The first is overview of the basic characteristics of dementia, or what we call Dementia 101. There's relaxation training combined with calming prayer and or meditation. And I know Ned mentioned earlier about how much the relaxation training helped him. We automatically assume that in order to relax, you just go home, you sit in your favorite chair, and boom, you're relaxed. But there's actually an entire technique behind the relaxation the process, and we train our caregivers on that. There's also effective thinking about the challenges of caregiving coupled with scripture. And effective thinking is just changing the way you think about the caregiving situation or the challenges that you're currently facing. Next slide, please. We have one of my favorites, building in pleasant daily activities, or I like to call it with emotional distress, but I like to call it the me time module. Just knowing how to ask family and friends, or take 15 minutes to go to Walmart, or take a walk, or listen to some music, just to have a woo-saw. We all need to woo-saw every once in a while. There's also communicating effectively with your care partner, with family, and health professionals. And then, as I spoke earlier about developing the effective problem solving skills through goal setting. Next slide, please. I spoke earlier about being able to reach out and take advantage of resources that are available to you. So here are just a few. There's the Alzheimer's Association, the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. There's the Elder Helpline, the Elder Care Locator, and the Alzheimer's Disease Education and Referral Center. Next slide, please. How can caregivers contact X2 Project? Multiple ways to contact us. You're here on our Facebook page. You can leave a message here. We will respond to those messages. We have a toll-free number that is 866-778-2724. We have a local number, which is my cell phone number, 850-274-4945. My email address, tnnorton@fsu.edu, or go to our website, which we're www.x2project.org, and we're actually going to bring that website up so you will have an idea of what it actually looks like. Once you go to our website, there are several things that are very helpful on the page. If you go to resources, there are a lot of resources that are available for caregiver resources. We have things like prayers. We have information on the basics of dementia. We have caregiver skills. There's a ton of information that will be useful there. If you will go back up to the top, and if you will click on links, Okay, here are useful links to lots of resources that are available in Florida. Some of them I mentioned earlier, and some that are available nationally. Okay, and one of the other ways to contact us, if you go to sign up, okay, if you would rather contact us via the web, you can go to this page, put in your information, enter any questions that you may have, hit the contact us button. That does come to my email. So we encourage everyone to please reach out. I often say to caregivers that there is no shame in asking for help. One of the strongest things that you can do is to say to someone that today's not a good day, and I just need someone to be there for me. So Acts 2 wants to be that bridge. We want to bridge that gap for you, to be there as a source of support. What we are now going to do is we will have a panel discussion where everyone will come back, and please ask your questions, any questions that you may have.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tamika, for that very informative presentation. I think we'll shift to questions. Thank you. So here we have a question from Dale Meador, or just a comment. Love the links, the general information, and phone numbers. Thank you, Dale, for that comment. Do you have to be in Tallahassee, or can you be anywhere in the state to receive the Acts 2 services? Tamika, please.
You can be anywhere in the state of Florida. Because we are phone based, we are not limited to the area that we can serve. So if you're interested, if you'd like more information, please feel free to give me a call. You can use that toll-free number. It will come to my cell, or you can call me directly at the 850-274-4945.
Next question. Does the area of the brain, Vicki, affect the brain affected? Which area was affected? Does it determine the type of dementia?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Yes. The depending on depending on the type of dementia, you will have parts of the brain. So if you have frontotemporal dementia, that's going to affect this front part of your brain right here. That's the decision-making part. That's your executive functioning. So those folks, a lot of times we'll see frontotemporal dementias in younger people. It's more prevalent in males, I believe. So and that's going to affect behavior differently. So the person's body is going to be able to do everything, but this front part where they're making all their decisions is going to be affected definitely by dementia. So it just really depends. And your neurologist should be able to help you identify what type of dementia, and that'll help you better understand the why. Why is this person doing this, and how can I change my behavior to help them? So thank you.
Excellent question, Ms. Colon. Now we have, once again, Ms. Priscilla Jean-Louis with a positive for Ned Fayson. Very good.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ned, for your narrative, because we really, our goal here is to amplify the voices of care partners of older adults with dementia in the community. And thank you so much for your willingness and openness to share your experiences with us, Mr. Fayson.
My pleasure.
Next, we have Marilyn Braithwaite Hall. Please talk about strategies, Vicki, for moving a parent out of her home for a variety of compelling reasons.
This is a really difficult conversation to have with the person. Especially in the beginning, after diagnosis, one of the first, with dementia, sometimes in the beginning, the person will have awareness that they have a problem and they're having a problem with their memory. But as the disease progresses, one of the terrible things that happens is that person loses awareness. They aren't seeing the same thing that you are. So when you go over to your mom's house, I'm sure there's things that you notice. There's no food in the fridge. Maybe she's left the stove on, whatever it may be, or probably one of the many compelling reasons why you don't want her to live alone in her home. And it's hard to have that conversation with her. So, when you're making these decisions, if you can get the person involved, however you can, to make it so they have more help in decisions. So say your mom is a really social person. So instead of saying, Mom, this house is a mess, you can't keep this up anymore. Say, Mom, one of these, my friends, lives at one of these assisted living communities, and wow, they do so many fun activities, and I know how much that you love to play chess, and they have a chess club there. Maybe we could go and just check it out one day. So you do slow little increments, get the person involved, maybe start somewhere else instead of, you can't take care of yourself anymore, you shouldn't be living alone. So can you find something else in their story, in their reality, where you're not accusing them of not being able to do something? Because if you start the conversation there, it's really just going to escalate quickly, and probably not in the best way. So really thinking about who your mom is and how can you sell living somewhere else, even if it's with you. So, Mom, I really just, the kids are in school right now and I really just can't handle everything. Would you come and help me? Well, I know that that's a big decision for you, but if you could come and help me run the house, that would be huge. Anything that you can do to change the conversation could be helpful, instead of just the accusatory, you can't live alone anymore because you are going to have burned the house down or whatever it is. So hopefully that's helpful, but it's different for every person.
And now we have TP Davis.
Welcome.
Daryl, this is my first time on Facebook with Acts 2. Well, we're so grateful that you decided to join us, and we will be having these presentations monthly, or you can call us at 850-274-4945. Thank you, Daryl. Jackie Alexander, I'm dealing with my husband being confused all the time, forgetting who I am.
Yeah.
Vicky?
And I honestly think that Mr. Fayson, I don't know if this is something that you've experienced in your caregiver journey, but this is something really hard when the person no longer recognizes you. And once again, we think about what is going on in the person's brain. They love you and they care about you, but maybe they're not able to recognize you or say your name anymore. So, there's something so powerful about, even if the person maybe doesn't know who you are anymore, just telling them that you love them and making sure that the person is comfortable, feels safe, feels engaged, and that can maybe help, with some of that confusion, and just trying to be okay with it. I don't know, Mr. Fayson, if you had any.
I have experienced on one occasion when Mom and I were engaged, and she just out of the clear blue just stopped her conversation and looked at me intensely.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, "Who are you?" And it took me by surprise.
Yeah.
I said, "Mom, I'm your son." And then she closed her eyes and thought about it for a minute. She said, "Wow, I had a temporary forgetful moment who you were." And then again, I replied back, "It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. You're going to have those moments where you forget. I forget sometimes, but I still love you. We still have love for each other, and we moved on."
Yep. Yeah, that love, letting the person know, it's me, Mom, and I love you, and say, "Oh, okay." So yeah, very powerful.
Here's another good question. My mom constantly eating. Is this normal for a person with dementia? Thank you, TP Davis.
Yes, people with dementia will, a lot of different things happen. Sometimes the person, it could be something going on in their physical body. You know, we always want to make sure too, if there's behaviors like this, that you rule out anything physical going on. So making sure that there's not any problems with the person's thyroid or things, or their insulin, making sure all the physical stuff is taken care of, and that's not the reason that the person is eating a lot more. So yeah, people with dementia all the time, they'll forget they'll have a meal, they'll sit down, you'll have the most delicious dinner you've ever had in your whole life. And then the person goes, well, when are we going to eat dinner? We're just sitting around.
Right.
So, you know, things that we would do is leave the dirty dinner plate in front of the person. So it kind of gives them that visual cue. Oh, I've already ate. You know, we clean up the dishes and stuff, and the person goes, oh, we're going to eat again. Allowing the person, if they want to eat, providing them with healthy snacks so that they can eat. Like, as long as the person, you know, isn't have bad diabetic and you're giving them cookies and candy and stuff all the time, there's nothing wrong. If the person wants to sit there and eat crackers, or, you know, I mean, I'm a social worker, not a doctor. Always check with your doctor about this kind of stuff. But if the person wants to do it, I would say just let them. So that's my personal experience.
We have Leola Wade has a good question. How are services being rendered due to COVID-19? I would assume we're talking about dementia care services.
Well, I know with Acts 2, you guys never missed a beat,
Right.
because you have like the perfect setup for COVID-19. So which is just one of the awesome parts about the program too. And you can reach people in rural areas and everything, and you have not skipped a beat. In terms of dementia care in the home, I know I work for a home health company, and we also haven't missed a beat. So we are going into people's homes to help take care of people living with dementia. But we're wearing N95 masks and taking all the proper precautions and those sorts of things. Right now, I know in Tallahassee, we have 2 adult daycare facilities, and they are both closed. And they might not be open again until later this year or next year. And it's very uncertain for caregivers. But all those folks who were in day center, now they have caregivers coming into their home to help kind of bridge that gap in care. So, you know, hopefully healthcare providers, we're on the front lines. We're just trying to get it done, and we still are providing these services. I know that the Alzheimer's Project has had powerful tools for caregivers classes that have gone virtual. I know that there's support groups that have gone virtual. So there are services. I don't want anyone to think that COVID-19 is going to be a barrier to that. Most services support has moved virtual, just a little bit different, same thing.
And just to address Ms. Wade's comment, if you wish, please call us at 850-274-4945. And we can, through Tamika, we will be able to make the handshake with providers in your area to determine what home services are available, whether you're in Tampa, Orlando, Eustis, whatever it might be. We will try our best to link you to those resources across the state.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Priscilla, Jean-Louis, my mom thinks I'm her mom now. I've learned to go along with it. Again, it's their world, and you have to go there with them. That's great wisdom, Miss Priscilla. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for that comment. We have Claudia Cicciarello. And is diet important? Like, for example, giving less sugar, because it seems it causes my mom to become more upset or aggressive at times. Comments from our panel?
I mean, yeah, I think that, you know, that diet is really important. They talk about, you know, having the Mediterranean diet and stuff is good for brain health. But, you know, at some point, and especially if you're having these negative behaviors like getting upset or aggressive, then you definitely want to try to limit the sugar and things like that. But, you know, sometimes it gets to a point where the person may only eat a couple of things, and maybe they're not the most nutritious, but they enjoy eating them, and you just gotta let it go. That's the other song I sing on this. Let it go, let it go. Just gotta let it go sometimes.
We have time for a couple more. I just wanted to thank our listening audience that we're going a little bit longer, but we're here for you. We're excited just to be able to have so many thoughtful questions. We'll go for a little bit longer. Miss Wade again, just a response to TP Davis. My mom stopped eating a year ago. She's 97. She started back 2 weeks ago eating soft fruits. Well, how wonderful that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss TP Davis.
Thank you.
Angela, thank you so much, Dr. Hill, for joining us tonight. We thank you for your presence. Colleen, thank you. Miss Pritchard. Leda Cooksey, thank you for what you've brought to the table for us in Acts 2 as a student working with us. Josie Flieger, Vicki knows her stuff. Well, I'd say an amen to
That's
that.
my best friend, so I paid her to say that. Thanks, Josie.
Patience is a virtue. Very nice. Having an active prayer sentence is always wonderful. You know, thou shalt keep them in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Amen.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Braithwaite Hall. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Sandy Halpern and Gail and Sandy. Wonderful to have both of you aboard. What a great blessing. Well, thank you, folks. I think we're going to call it this evening. I just wanted to let you know that on November 5th, we have Dr. Floyd Willis presenting. That's Thursday, November 5th. I think this will also arouse a considerable amount of interest across the communities, in faith communities and other communities across the state. It is the title of his talk and as a featured presentation is the history and impact of dementia in the African American community. So I think just keep in touch. We're going to be telling you more about that going in the future, in the near future. I just want to thank our panel tonight, Mr. Ned Fayson, Mrs. Vicki Rose, Tamika Norton-Brown, and a special thanks to those persons who are behind the scenes for producing this program, Miss Chrissy Souders and Miss Melissa Powell for making this program work so well. All the banners, the PowerPoints, the video demonstrations, the organization of the videos. Thank you so much for your contributions to our program. And I'd like to say thank you to you folks for being part of this effort. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank God for this audience. And please call us if you have any questions. Call Mrs. Vicki Rose. Call Tamika Norton-Brown. We're here for you. 850-274-4945. And we have a toll-free number. T, do you want to give it to them?
Yes, our toll-free number is 866-778-2724, and that comes to my cell as well. So as Dr. G was saying, please feel free to reach out for us. Every journey has to have a first step, so take the step.
Awesome.
Have a blessed evening, folks.
Good night.